Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just getting set up here so we can get started with week 2 of the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. Woo, woo. Just like last time, I'm going to have my tablet here so I can see what's going on in the comments. So I'm just trying to get everything set up. If you guys just give me just a second. Okay, looks good to me. And also, let's close this down. And I will go ahead and screen share. Okay, so I know that a lot of you guys have not made it in yet, but I'm going to get started. Last week's meeting was super long, so I don't want that to happen this time. I want to try to get straight to the point today. All right, so let's get started. So welcome to week 2 of the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. I hope that you guys had a good experience on week 1. Last week, we focused a lot on how to get those dishes under control using the shiny sink rolls. I hope that you guys had a good experience with that. I would actually love to hear how that's been going. So if as you're coming in, let me know in the comments, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or on the feedback form. I definitely want to know, like, if you feel like things are different for you in that department. And for me, I think it just took me a couple of days for me to feel like, okay, like I can do this. So I hope that you guys are having a similar experience as well. I hope that you're starting to just feel more confident, and like, the dishes don't have to take over your life, especially if you have a good routine around them. And so, yeah, so this week we're going to move on to the next step. So last week I talked about the 4 different types of cleaning. So right now we are working on the maintenance type of cleaning. So that's the very bottom of the framework that I showed you guys last week. And so now we have the shiny sink roll. Now we're going to talk about what we're going to do to keep clutter from kind of coming in and invading our lives and all that good stuff. So this is the agenda for today. First, we're going to talk about 2 different types of clutter. I'm sure there may be more, but for the purposes of this program, we want to really get good at distinguishing different types of clutter, so that when we're in our maintenance cleaning, we know what to go for, what to attack, versus when we're in our zone cleaning, which we'll get to on week 4, we know what type of clutter to attack there. Because what I think a lot of people are doing, I was certainly doing this as well, is they're kind of like jumbling up all the different types of clutter. So when it's cleaning time, they're just going after all of it. And it's kind of just like overwhelming, and it feels like a really big task. And it makes it feel like clutter is just, taking over your life. And like, it's just frustrating when you feel like no matter how much work I put into this, like it's just coming back and I'm burning myself out. And I feel like, should I work harder to make this clutter go away? If I work any harder, I'm just gonna like crash and just die. I will die. There's so much clutter here. That's what I felt like how could I possibly give this thing any more energy that I'm already giving? So we're going to really talk about where that's coming from, and we're going to talk about a strategy to kind of help you feel a little more confident and like you can stay on top of the clutter. Basically, in our maintenance cleaning, you guys know that that's something that should be really fast. Like it should be something that you can knock out 15 minutes in the morning. And so if you're working on like decluttering projects, of course, that's going to slow you down. So we really want to distinguish like our daily mess, the things that we need to be able to just pick up really fast in our maintenance routine, versus longer projects that we'll handle in our zone cleaning, so that when we do need to take time to figure out where stuff goes and where to put it and how to organize it, we can have designated time that's separate from that. And the chances are that if you get really good at your daily quick pickup, that the stuff that you declutter, this has been my experience, it just doesn't come back as easily. So basically, that's an overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the 2 different types of clutter and the best time to address them. We're going to talk about hot spots, and we're going to talk about how to do a hot spot fire drill. And then we're going to go through a lot of troubleshooting, because I know, once again, when you're first starting, it's not going to be very obvious to you which cleaning is for today and which cleaning is for a different project at a different time. So I'm going to really try to go through and talk to you guys about some of the things that I bumped up against, and just talk about how I resolved some of those problems, and just do a lot of troubleshooting to kind of help you guys be prepared for that as we go into the challenge this week. And the last thing that we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys some bonus tips for success. Basically, we're just going to recap all the things that we talked about with our acronym fire drill. That's our acronym for the week. And then I'm going to give you guys a couple of extra bonus tips that I didn't cover in the previous slides. And so let me just jump on and see how we're doing in the comments. Hey, Brooke. Hey, Melissa. Yes, don't let anybody disrespect your sink. Oh, wow. I'm so happy that you're having a good experience with that, Melissa. And this is Snutch Customs. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, girl. This is from Crystal. Hey, Crystal. This is from SOK, girl. This is from 999 Lumen. Hey, girl. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a brief introduction. I know that there were several people who decided to join the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge last week. So this is just a little blurb about me. My name is Lede. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 4 kids, 2 of whom are toddlers. And about 1 year ago this month, I just kind of felt like I was just over what I was doing in terms of homekeeping. I felt like I was overwhelmed. I felt like I was just barely holding it together. And I just didn't really feel good about what I was doing. I felt like I was putting in so much work to trying to keep the house afloat, trying to keep everybody comfortable, that I really had no results to show for my work. And I just felt like I couldn't put any more energy into this thing. And I really needed to have a solution where I could work more strategically, work smarter, and not necessarily harder. Like I'm somebody, I don't mind working hard. I just need to know that when I'm putting in that work, I'm going to see results. And so that's what I didn't feel that way before I started my journey. And now I do. I feel like actually I work less and the results are even better than anything that I've done before. And that's because I started a Fly Lady journey. So basically what you'll notice throughout the system is my system is very Fly Lady inspired, but I've just taken that body of knowledge and I pretty much tweaked it and customized it to fit my life and what I'm going through right now. So like I said, it's a lot of pulling from that body of knowledge, but a lot of my own stuff that I've added into it and a lot of tweaks. So if you guys are here looking for an exact duplicate of the Fly Lady system, you won't find that here. But if you guys want to know like my approach to it and how I juggle it, with my 4 kids, I told you guys I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I also work part-time in the mornings. And then I do this YouTube thing, which now with the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge has been taking a lot more time. And I feel comfortable like juggling all the things because I know that my homekeeping system is solid. And despite all the things I have going on, homeschooling, gosh, I never feel like homekeeping is that thing that's just going to fall apart because I have a system that just makes sense for me. And another thing that you should know is I'm not like a natural born homekeeper. Like for some reason, those skills just didn't get passed down to me. I got a lot of skills, but not the homekeeping skill. And so a lot of this is just stuff that, like, if you're somebody who can relate, like you don't feel like you love cleaning, you don't want to do it all day, you don't have energy to do it all day, then you're in luck because I'm the same way here. So maybe the things that we talk about will resonate with you. So we're going to go ahead and move into phase 1, which is the 2 different types of clutter and the best time to handle them. And so I want to just point out, I kind of talked about this before, that not all clutter is the same. And I think that was where my hang up was before I started the Fly Lady system. I would have these designated times to clean, and I was just doing all the things, all the projects, anything that I saw that looked like it was a problem, I just went ahead and attacked it. And so what I really found once I started my Peaceful Homekeeping system is that didn't work out so much for me because it literally felt like I was just being aimless and I was just doing, like I said, whatever came into my face. But whenever I started getting like more strategic with how I spent my time and being aware of what I'm working on, when I'm working on it, I just started to notice that things flowed a lot better for me. And so basically what I was doing before, we talked about this model in the first week, is I think I would just consider it to be binge cleaning. I was just trying to do all the things, trying to do it all at once. And then, with any type of binge cleaning, the problem with it is that you get extremely tired really fast. And if you're a human being, you're going to run out of energy. It's kind of like we're batteries, we only have so much energy. And while we're waiting for our battery to be restored and we're trying to, just re-energize ourselves, stuff starts piling back up on us. I mean, that's the natural tendency of some clutter, which we'll talk about. Some clutter builds back up on us while other type of clutter doesn't. And so, but that's just the natural tendency of how this works. And so, yeah, anytime you stop like that, you lose momentum. And so what I found now is that most of my routines are kind of very realistic. They're 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And when you kind of work within the scope of your energy and you don't overexert yourself, that allows you to stay on top of your maintenance routines. Because if you're just doing too much and you're like burned out and you're not staying on top of your maintenance routines, of course everything's going to fall apart. And luckily for us, our maintenance routines do not have to be crazy. They don't have to be super long, literally 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. And if you have enough energy left over to do that every morning and every night, that's enough to kind of keep new problems from arising. And so, but if you're burned out and you gave up all your energy today tackling some stuff, of course you don't have energy to stay on top of your maintenance, which means things start piling up on you again and it becomes overwhelming really, really fast. And so for the purposes of this um, challenge, we're going to talk about two different types of clutter. We have your full-blown decluttering projects versus just daily mess. And we're going to talk about when we're going to tackle decluttering projects, which will be in zone cleaning week 4, versus when we're going to tackle just daily mess. And so so there's good news. What I have found since working through my system is that decluttering projects, well, wait, before I do that, let's rewind. A lot of times when people think of decluttering projects, they think of like stuff that's like the really big decluttering projects. They think of like clutter that's been built up in their closets. They think about clutter that's been built up in their pantries, closets. For some reason, we tend to associate clutter with like stuff behind a closed door, stuff that nobody can see. That's our decluttering project. And everything out here in the public space where everybody can see is just stuff that needs to be cleaned. That's our daily mess. And what I will ask you to do is consider expanding your definition of what a full-blown decluttering project looks like. To me, like a decluttering project is anything that you need to like have a moment to sit down, figure out like where I want stuff to go long term, sort out your organization systems. And so sometimes those types of decluttering projects don't necessarily have to be behind a closed door. They don't necessarily have to be in a closet. That could literally be a table. And if you're trying to organize a table full of crap that's been sitting there for, you know, a long time, if you're trying to like do that, that's going to slow you down when it comes to maintenance. So we're not talking about this type of clutter whenever I'm talking about what we're going to do for this. Sorry, my family is being really loud and they're distracting me. Give me just a second. I'm about to go tell them to be quiet. Real life people. Sorry, people. Okay, real life over here. I had a baby, he hurt himself. And so he was just upset about that. And so, okay, back to it. What was I saying? So we're going to expand our definition of what a decluttering project means. And like I said, don't worry, you guys, we're going to get to the decluttering projects when we get to our zone cleaning. But for now, I really want you to think about like decluttering projects is anything that's kind of built up, anything that's on any surface that's been kind of built up for a while that requires you to take a moment to figure out where things go and to organize it. That stuff takes time and it's going to slow you down if you're trying to do that in your maintenance cleaning. So what I really want us to focus on is being able to distinguish between a full-on decluttering project that needs that dedicated and focused time versus our daily mess, which we should be able to pick up and whip through it really quickly. And I know that from the outside looking in, if you've never done this before, it's going to sound like a lot. How am I supposed to stay on top of this daily mess? I used to feel that same way. As soon as we started talking about that, or when I read about that in the Fly Lady book, I was like, it's just not possible. You don't know my family. It's too much. Like, and so I understand, like, if you're feeling that way. And I just want to share that from my experience, it turned out to be super manageable because once again, in my mind, my relationship with picking up clutter was trying to do all the things at once. But when you get very narrow about what I'm focusing on, with this morning maintenance routine, with this evening maintenance routine, you'll find that if you're consistent and you're doing it every morning and every night and midday for people who need that, it actually turns out to be realistic. Because, for example, if you do your nighttime routine, how much clutter are you going to pick up, daily clutter, which we'll get clear about in just a minute, between dinner and breakfast? How much daily clutter, new clutter does your family bring out between breakfast and lunch? How much new clutter does your family bring out between lunch and dinner? So basically, we're trying to crush it and get rid of the new clutter that's trying to accumulate as quickly as possible with our morning and evening routines. So let's get really clear on the different types of messes. So we have daily mess. And for me, I consider daily mess to be things that are just fresh, that are new, that were just created today. And so think like I just pulled out my tube of toothpaste and I didn't put it back. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff we're gonna tackle in our morning maintenance routine. We're gonna put the toothpaste back. We're gonna put the makeup back. Okay, a good way to know if this is a daily mess and something that we should be working through on our maintenance routine is if it keeps coming back. Like no matter how many times I put back the toothpaste, there's a good chance tomorrow, if I just naturally leave this stuff on the counter, there's a good chance it's coming back. No matter how many times I clean off this table from breakfast, there's a good chance we're going to eat another meal and it's going to come back. So if it's like a reoccurring type of mess, that's going to be something that's going to be handled in our 2 to 3 routines. And like I said, if you're consistent and you stay on top of it, it should never be more than 15 minutes worth of work. I say that, but obviously everybody's family situation is different. For me, we have 8 people in my home right now. So if you have like 8 people or less, then it should be about 15 minutes worth of work. If you have like, more than that, I don't really know. We need to get you connected with somebody who's doing the system with a lot more people in their home. But for me, 15 minutes is all it takes to get the daily clutter and keep it from building up in the morning and in the evening, and sometimes in the midday if needed. And another way to know if this is your daily mess is, let's say you decluttered a surface and then you see stuff trying to slowly make its way back on that. That's the kind of stuff we're going to tackle in our maintenance routine. We're going to just go grab those 2 or 3 items and keep it from ever becoming a problem. Whereas a full-on decluttering project is something that's been sitting there for a while. Like, think about on top of your dresser, you got the books and the random knickknacks and stuff up there. It's been sitting there for a couple of weeks. Okay, that's not what we're going to be focusing on this week, because there's a good chance if it's been sitting there for a couple of weeks, it is not the end of the world if it sits there for 2 more weeks until we get to our zone cleaning project. So leave that stuff alone for now. Or if you do decide to do it, just know that that's not what we're focusing on. And if you did your daily pickup, your daily mess pickup, you have succeeded. Check mark for you. And if you want to venture onto something else, good for you. But you're doing going above and beyond, and that's fine. And as I mentioned, my observation is there's a good chance that if you declutter spaces where things have been sitting there for a while and you create really good organization systems, which I'm going to share how I do mine, then once you fix the problem, the decluttering project, then if you are staying on top of it every morning and every night, keeping stuff from trickling back on there, it won't be a problem for you anymore. And I know it's hard to believe that if you've never tried this before, but people, I'm just telling you, my experience. So once again, this is my observation. Once you declutter and organize and everything has a clearly defined home, there's a good chance that those decluttering projects will stay away if you have a plan to address the daily messes that try to trickle in. And so this is the best metaphor that I can think about to describe the differences between daily mess versus full-on decluttering projects. Let's imagine that we have somebody who has a leak in their roof, but there's no bucket here. So the leak, AKA the daily clutter, is just trickling in and making a huge mess on the floor. And so you are trying to be on top of it. Your intentions are, I want to keep this place together. I want to keep it clean. So you go get a rag and you're trying to clean up the floor. You go get your mop, you go get your HVAC and you're trying to like clean up the mess. And then you wake up in the morning and it's back. And so you're trying to do like all the things and it's so overwhelming for you. Where if you would just simply target the mess that's trying to trickle in, let those decluttering projects sit there for just a minute. I'm not saying that they're not important, but let's like figure out the source of the mess first and create a really solid strategy for that. And then that way, now, whenever you do your decluttering projects, whenever you go mop and clean and do all the other things, you know that it's going to stay dry. You know that you have nothing to worry about in terms of those systems falling apart, because we have a really, really solid strategy for catching the new clutter that's trying to trickle in. And once again, like I said, this strategy does not have to be overwhelming. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, 15 minutes in the middle of the day for people who need that little bit of extra support. And so like I said, for me, it's enough. It's enough. Like I don't, yeah, it's enough. There we go. So we're going to play a little game. What kind of clutter am I? Because like I said, whenever you're first starting, I know that it's not very obvious what I should be focusing on right now versus what I should be saving for my zone cleaning. I know that. And so we're going to play a little game. But before I do, I want to jump into the comments really fast. Okay. Hey, Sharita, good morning. Nurse Mom Fly Baby. Hey, girl, welcome. Elizabeth, hey, girl. Sharita, one side of my sink is shiny. You go, girl. Okay, so Melissa says she's still struggling with the binge and burn. Okay, and so we will just continue to talk about that. I hope to see that slowly but surely the need for you or the feeling for you to want to do that will start to go away, especially when you can look at like a decluttering project and know that, hey, I'm zone cleaning tomorrow. I don't have to like drop everything and do that right now because I have a plan for it. There's something that's so healing about having like seeing progress being made in your home and seeing things slowly get better. And then knowing that, oh, I have a plan for this, I have a plan for that, I have a plan for this, that allows you to calm down a little bit so that you're not burning yourself out. Because as I mentioned, the problem with burning yourself out is if you like go and you try to do all the things, then you're not going to have any energy at the end of the day to do your maintenance stuff. And it's kind of like if you're not staying on top of your maintenance, then I don't want to tell you that, doing all the other stuff is not, a waste of energy. I don't want to say that because, everybody can do their own thing. But for me, I have found that what's the point of like doing my decluttering projects if I don't have any energy or any way to maintain them and keep them from coming back. So that's really the importance of not burning yourself out. You have to have energy at the end of the day to do your maintenance routine. Now, if you can do all the things and stay on top of your maintenance routine by the end of the day, good for you. I don't have that kind of energy. So I have to, like for me, the purposes of my system is to teach us how to work more like the turtle and make slow and steady progress instead of feeling like we got to do all the things just to stop and like burn yourself out. And then stuff starts piling up on you while you're trying to recover. So, silly mommy full of life, silly mommy full of life. Hey, girl, what's up? This is from Brooke. Hey, okay, I think okay. Hey, Shari, welcome. And all right, so we're going to keep it moving. So we're going to play a game. What kind of clutter am I? I wish I would have numbered these so that I could go back and see your answers, but just drop your answers in the comments. Okay, number one, let's think about your home. And by the way, y'all don't judge me, okay? Because all of these examples, I may know somebody who used to have these problems. I don't want to tell you her name. So all of these examples, they come from me, okay? So this is just to let y'all know, I know what you're going through. I know what it's like to be, where you are, where you're starting for some of you guys. So, okay, so here's my example. Makeup and beauty products that have been sprawled across your bathroom counter for years. Is that A, daily mess that we need to try to pick up in our morning routine? Or is that B, a full-scale decluttering project that you can save for zone cleaning? That needs solid organization systems that will require you to slow down and take your time and work through it. Daily mess or decluttering project? All right, so if you said zone cleaning, ding, 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 you're right. I know that the stuff on the counter, that's out of control. I know that it's, annoying to look at, but the chances are if it's been sitting there for months, leave it alone for just this week. Leave it alone for next week because we are going to have designated time to get all of that stuff cleaned up. And let me be a living testimony as somebody who frequently drops stuff on her counter all the time. If you have a good maintenance system in place, once you clean it up, that's going to be the last time. Well, I don't want to say last time, because like you may decide that you want to like organize your stuff differently, but it will be so easy to maintain. Let me just say that. Super, super, super easy to maintain in your quick daily maintenance routine. All right. So I'm going to see if you guys are okay. So some of you guys are saying decluttering. Good job. Well done. All right. So let's move on to question number 2. The makeup and beauty products that I just used this morning. Is that daily mess or is that a full-scale decluttering project? Okay, so once again, this is going to be an example of something that we would quickly just knock out in our daily maintenance. Once again, I know that it's really hard to distinguish that because if your bathroom is cluttered and then you just pulled out makeup, it's very tempting to try to like pull the whole thing back together or to ignore it completely. Just do the best that you can because I promise you, as we move into zone cleaning, it's going to become more and more obvious which things you've worked on and which things are still need your attention. And it's going to be very obvious which things are daily maintenance. You're trying to preserve your organization systems versus which things are full-blown decluttering projects. And I know it's very confusing when you're in this stage, but it's important for me to build your foundation first and to make sure that you have a solid routine to protect your freshly decluttered spaces when we get there. And so that's what we're really going to work on this week. Okay, the box of random stuff that's been sitting in the corner on the floor in my bedroom for the last 6 months. Is that something you're going to try to tackle in your daily mess, your maintenance cleaning, or is that a decluttering project? All right, you guys are doing so good. I'm looking at your comments. You guys said daily mess for the last one. Good job. So, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this one. The box of random stuff that's sitting in the corner. Y'all, I had this box. Like I said, all these examples come from me, so I know. Let's just save that for a decluttering project. Girl, you will knock that box out in 15 minutes or 30 minutes worth of zone cleaning. So for now, for the purposes of this, just leave it where it's been sitting there for 6 months. It will be okay if you leave it there for another 2 weeks while you build your solid maintenance routine. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yep. All right. So let's, once again, that will be handled in phase 2 of this ladder, zone cleaning. You guys are doing so good. I see your comments. Y'all are doing awesome. All right. Daily mess versus decluttering projects. The jeans on the floor, my bedroom, that my husband just wore yesterday. He didn't want to put them back, so he threw them on the floor. Is that going to be something that you're just going to scoop to the side and save it for decluttering? Or is that a daily mess, something that you probably want to address in your daily maintenance routine? Let's see. Okay, so while the answers are trickling in, I'll let you know that's daily maintenance. It just got there. You know, it's daily maintenance. So if you need to pick up that kind of stuff, then by all means do that. The idea is just, I don't want you guys getting carried away when we're supposed to be spending 15 minutes on your morning and evening routines. I don't want you guys like burning yourselves out and getting stressed out because you're trying to do all the different types of cleaning. So this is definitely one that you want to handle in your daily cleaning. Yep, I see you guys. I see the comments trickling in. Yep, you guys are getting it. Awesome. Okay, next, the stack of random stuff that's been sitting. Oh, wait, we just did this one. No. This is different. This is different. The stack of random stuff that's been sitting on top of my dresser for 6 months. Daily mess or decluttering project? Okay. All right. So once again, this is going to be a full-on decluttering projects. I need to tell you guys like the power of these daily maintenance routines. Okay. So the other week, my husband and I, we just received like some gifts and some things from, no. That's a different thing. No, this is actually what happened. My twin daughters, they have been killing my bedroom dresser drawers, like my night tables, and they've been like pulling stuff out. And like every day in my maintenance routine, since it's a new mess, I've just been shoving it back in. Okay. Like, since I have to have this battle with them, it's not perfectly decluttered right now. And I don't plan to do it until they stop doing that, until they get out of my drawers and kind of get over this phase. And so one day I was just like, I'm over it. You know what? I'm over it. I'm going to stop putting these notebooks in here because like I'm tired of picking them up. So I just put the notebooks on top of my dresser, like where I keep my clothes and stuff, up really high so they couldn't get to it. And I was like, I will get to this. I zone clean in this room next week. So I will find like a good place to put them and organize all my notebooks and stuff so I don't have to worry about them doing that. Girl. Typically I would clear off that surface every morning and every night. But the reason that, we'll talk about this a little more, but that little surface that I dropped those books on and never came back for literally became a full-blown decluttering project by the end, before the next week. Because what happens is whenever you have, stuff just sitting on your surfaces that don't seem like they belong there, then it's just kind of like a signal, like a big sign in the air to all your family that says, oh, put your other stuff here that you don't feel like putting away, or that you don't know where it belongs. Put it here. This is the hangout spot. And that's exactly what happened. It took less than a week for that whole surface to be filled with stuff that just did not belong there. So that is the importance of putting out this stuff, like knocking out this little daily maintenance and clearing off that surface every morning and every night, because it's real. It will turn into a full-blown decluttering project if you don't. And so anyway, that's a little tangent. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying. Decluttering. Yes. Okay, cool. So the next one, the plate on my dresser that I forgot to take to the kitchen yesterday. Daily mess or decluttering project? I think this is pretty obvious. It's a daily mess. So just go ahead and grab that. How many of these did I put a lot of examples because I didn't want anybody getting stressed out over this. So let's talk about the kitchen. The random pile of knickknacks that's been sitting on top of my countertops for a long time. Okay, that's a decluttering project. Let it sit there for another 2 weeks. Really put your attention on daily maintenance, because if it's been there for, a while, it's going to be okay. Like while we're getting our foundation ready. And then let's see the next one. The supplies on my counter that I just used to cook dinner. That one's going to be a daily mess. Okay. So just get really clear. Oh, wait, here's another one. The pile of laundry that's been sitting on my dining table all summer long. Girl, handle that in zone cleaning. Okay, that's a decluttering project versus the pile of laundry that I didn't feel like folding yesterday. So I just threw it up there. That's going to be a daily mess. Just go ahead and knock that out, girl. That's a fresh new thing. So basically, once again, to recap, your daily messes. This is what we are really trying to target in our maintenance routines and our morning and evening maintenance routine. Stuff that just got pulled out today. Even when I clean it, there's a good chance that it's coming back because my family just uses this stuff. And then if I have freshly decluttered a space, the stuff that attempts to trickle back on there, that is all daily mess. And when we set our timer in the morning for 15 minutes, this is all the stuff that we are going to go hunt down. Okay. And we're going to make sure that this doesn't have a chance to explode and grow and turn to a decluttering project. That's our whole goal here. Whereas decluttering projects are things that is just already out of control. The damage has already been done, and it's going to take time for us to sit down, pull it apart, figure out where everything goes. That we don't have time for that when we're just doing a maintenance routine. Our maintenance routine is we got to get in and get out. This decluttering project is going to take your time and attention, so we need to make sure we're addressing it in our designated time to do that. And as I mentioned before, there's a good chance that if you declutter it and then you get on top of your maintenance routines, that this won't ever become a big full-scale project for you again until you fall off of your daily maintenance, which I hope that none of you guys will do. Okay, so today, this is our focus: daily mess, daily prevention routines. Daily maintenance routines. All right. And then we'll talk about zone cleaning in week 4. That's where we're going to go find long-term solutions for those decluttering projects. And one thing that I used to think before I started my routines is that I needed to get the whole house clean before I started, going into my closets and doing decluttering projects and doing all that stuff. So I never felt like I had time to get to my decluttering projects because, like, look at my house. Like, it's still crazy around here. And what I have found, y'all, is that this is the key to making your cleaning easier. Do not delay on those decluttering projects. We will get to them in week 4. Get on them as soon as possible, because it's like when you start working through your zone cleaning and getting that decluttering and finding homes for everything, this will in turn make your daily maintenance cleaning super easy, and it will make just most of the problems in your environment disappear. And so that's why we're going to work on it as our second step in this model. But for now, let's make sure that we have a good foundation in place so that when we start doing that zone cleaning, we know that, the clutter is not going to come back. The buildup's not going to come back. Okay. And then the next thing is, I just want to reiterate that I know that when you're first starting, it's not going to be very obvious. So I just want to let you know that to expect that this week. I don't want you to start this and feel like, oh, well, I don't know what's what, or this routine is taking too long. I don't want you to feel discouraged by that, because it's likely that it's just going to be very confusing at first. But the more that you do it, the more that you show up, you're going to start developing your routine, and it's going to become more and more obvious to you, like what I should be working on here and versus what I should be saving for zone cleaning. So I just want to encourage you guys to stick with it, and it will get more and more crystal clear as we build your system. But for now, we have to start from somewhere, because I told you guys that the first step is to clear off some of those surfaces and to have them fresh, and then you're going to prevent trickle, right? But for some of you guys, you don't have those, you don't have anything that's cleared off or decluttered yet. So you're like, oh, this is declutter projects. I ain't gotta do nothing this week. No. We're gonna fix that. We have to start from somewhere. So that's where we're going to move into module number 2. We're going to talk about hotspots and how to do a hotspot fire drill. So I'm going to jump back in the comments really fast. Okay, this is from Nikki. Hey, Nikki, missed week 1, but hopping on now. Yay, so happy to have you here. Hey, Maria. Okay, this is from Crystal. I'm getting it. This concept is giving me freedom. Yay, okay. It's all about having routines and systems and keeping them. Yes. This is from Maria. I missed week 1, but hope hopping in is okay. Absolutely, it really is. And hopefully you'll be caught up to speed as we kind of talk, especially at the end when I kind of give you guys your assignment for the week. You'll know exactly what you should do, and it's definitely not too late to jump in. Okay. This is from Elizabeth. Is 15-minute daily mess and 15 minutes, 20 to 25-minute hand wash? I'm not quite sure what you're asking there, Elizabeth. Do you mind elaborating and giving me a little more detail? And I'll be happy to explain anything that I can if you just give me a little more detail there. Okay, so let's move on. Hotspots and hotspot fire drills. What is a hotspot? Okay, so I mentioned that we're going to have to start from somewhere, you guys, because it's not going to be very obvious, especially if there's a lot of buildup, which was my issue when I first started. So we're going to find a surface in our home and we're going to just clear it off. We're starting from scratch, people. Okay, but here's the thing. We're not just going to pick any surface. We want to be very strategic about where this surface is. So we need to find where the hot spots are in your living areas in your home. So whenever you have, no, let's just think, whenever your family comes in, just think it's been a long day and nobody's ready to put their stuff away. Like, think, where's that surface in my home where people just drop their stuff? They just drop it there and they may or may not come back to get it later on today. I want you to think of surfaces like that. I want you to think, I just pulled out the fingernail clippers and I clipped my baby's fingernails and I don't feel like putting the clippers away right now. So where do I just instinctively think to drop those clippers until I feel like putting them away? I just brought out, I don't know, some children's Tylenol. I'm about to give it to my baby. My baby's not feeling sick, or my baby's not feeling well. So where am I going to leave this package? Because right now is not a good time for me to put it away. Where's that? Let's think. I just did this laundry. I don't feel like folding it right now. Where do you drop the laundry so that you can come back and get to it later? Okay. So let's think of hotspots. Okay. So when we're thinking of where we're going to start our maintenance routine, I want you guys to be very strategic, because hotspots are the areas in your home where people just drop the stuff that they're not ready to put back right now. And so I know that, if you have multiple cluttered surfaces, you think that all of those are a hotspot, and they may be, but I want you to think about like the biggest, the worst ones, and the biggest and the worst ones are the ones that are still a magnet for clutter right now. Like, people are dropping their stuff on them every day. And like I said, they may or may not come and get it. And like I said, this is one of those things that's just intuitive. It should just come up for you. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. For me, I have this really high counter in my kitchen. That's where I would just drop stuff. Like, girl, we had pill bottles, fingernail clippers, just all kind of random stuff I didn't feel like putting away. I would kind of like shove it off to the side and like, you gonna sit there for a minute until I feel like putting it away. That was the area for me. When I have this little entryway table. When I first come into my home, girl, I would drop mail there. I would drop Amazon packages that I wasn't ready to put away. Anything from outside, like I would put my stuff there. So that was a hot spot for me. Also, my dining table, that was a place where I would just dump the laundry. I'm not ready to do this right now. That's a hot spot for me. Also, my breakfast area, like after the kids have eaten, we weren't the best at putting stuff away immediately. And so I would attract other stuff, more mail if I needed a different place to drop my mail, more stuff that we just brought from outside that I didn't feel like putting away. So those were the hot spots I picked. I'm going to ask you guys to pick a couple of those. I'll tell you how many in just a minute. But why is it important to know where your hot spots are? Once again, you guys, your hot spots typically, when there's clutter on an area like that, number one, your hot spots are your hot spots because they're convenient. It's a very convenient place for people to just drop their stuff when they're not ready to put it away. That's number one. Number two, it's a hot spot because, like, if you are in the practice of laying stuff up there just until I have time to get back to it, guess what your family's gonna do? They're going to model you. And so it's like, you think that is just a cup or a bottle or something like that, but you're actually creating a compound effect of everybody thinking that it's just this, it's just that, because everybody's going to just know that, oh, this must be the designated like spot to put stuff I don't feel like handling right now. And so that's why we're going to call these hotspot fire drills, because that's what it's like. It's like this a little hot spot. And if you don't get it under control, it has the ability to turn into a full blaze. It's just like clutter attracts more clutter. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if they have like if they have like an unwritten agreement that if you see one piece of clutter over here, like I just want to hang out with all the clutter, let's all hang out here. I don't know what it is, but clutter just attracts more clutter. And so our idea is to create an environment and a routine that makes sure that that doesn't happen. And I know, like, at first I mentioned it can feel overwhelming, but if you have a good 15-minute, morning, evening routine, it's really realistic. If you have 8 or less people in your house, if you have more, I don't know what to tell you, but if you have less than 8 people, it's realistic. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, and maybe a midday reset if needed. So I told you guys about my dresser and my bedroom and how, like, I put my journals up there and I was like, I'm going to get to it next week in zone cleaning. And that's why this happened. Like, when I left those journals up there, it was like I put up a big poster that said, drop your crap here. And that's exactly what happened. And that was a really good learning opportunity for me, because sometimes you think, oh, I've been doing my routines for a year and like this is just how things are. But it really showed me the power of having a strategy to prevent that kind of trickle from coming in to your hotspots. Okay. And so next, what we're going to do is we're going to pick 2 to 3 hotspots in your main living area. I will tell you now that when I started, I picked 4, but I think 2 to 3 is like a good amount to not feel overwhelmed. And, for some of you guys, you may need 4, but I really want you to kind of keep the area focused and to like think where you have like company and guests, kind of like those main living areas. And I want you to pick 2 to 3 of those hotspots that we just thought about. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from scratch. You're going to clear those bad boys off today, if you can. And then just like how we protect our sink, we don't let anybody come and mess with our sink, disrespect our sink. That's how you're going to get about these hotspots. And I don't care how you get this done. If you want to set your timer for 15 minutes and you want to just go ahead and put everything back where it goes, and you want to take the time to do it, right? Go on, girl. Go on, girl. But if you need to get a box, ma'am, and scoop that stuff into a box, ain't nobody judging over here, because we're going to get it together. It's so cleaning. But I'm just saying, do what works for you. Just get the surface clean, and like, we're starting from scratch. Like, you're not leaving your crap up here. And let me tell you, if I were you, I would be like as detailed as possible and get every single thing off of there besides the decorations, because there's a chance that if you leave stuff that looks like clutter up there, like I said, it's a clutter magnet. So we got to get our families used to seeing that area kind of like cleared off. And then we're going to fight like heck, like we did with our sink last week, to keep it that way. And I say fight like heck, but it's really realistic. Just 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. And that's enough to keep it from getting out of control. Okay. So basically, like I mentioned, this is going back to my observation. So criteria 1 has been met, no matter how you do that. If you decide to scoop the stuff off and worry about it when we get to week 4, that's fine. If you want to like spend time and put everything back where it goes, that's fine too. But once you have decluttered and organized your space and everything has a clearly defined home, so that's part 1. And I know some of y'all had to cheat. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it, girl. Zone cleaning is around the corner. But for the purposes of this webinar, if you cleared off your surface, criteria 1, check. So the next part of this is if you have a plan to address daily mess that tries to creep itself back onto your new, freshly cleaned off hotspots, that is what we are going to tackle every morning and every night. So now I should be really clear. This is a daily mess. It wasn't here yesterday. I need to snatch this back off of here. Okay. Every morning and every night, in the midday if you need that as well. Okay. So now it's obvious where you should be starting when you're doing your morning maintenance routine, right there in them hot spots. Okay, girl. So I wish I could tell you that this is all the place where daily mess is going to try to accumulate. It's not. That's why I wanted to make it very clear. This is like 80 to 90% of the fight right here. This where your family predictably drops their crap, but there's going to be a little extra that may land somewhere else. I'm talking about people kicking off their shoes. Obviously, that's not going to be on a hot spot, so you're going to have to put that back. People taking off their dirty laundry. Obviously, that's not going to land on a hot spot, so you're going to have to put that back. Maybe you have children's toys, which we'll talk about when we move into troubleshooting, but that's not obviously going to land on a hot spot, so you want to put that back. And so in addition to doing your hotspots, you're going to make your bed this week, because for me, I don't know what it is, but when my bed is not made, it makes it very hard for me to find stuff and to see where stuff is. Like, I don't know what it is. Like today, I was looking for this binder. And I was like, my husband took a nap. Like, he took a nap, so the bed wasn't made and all this stuff. And I was like having a panic attack because I'm like, I can't see. Like, I'm having to pick up the pillows and pick up the blanket. So let's just eliminate that. If you have a very simple bedding system, it should take you like a minute or two to make your bed. Okay. And then also, if you feel like your bedding is very complicated and you're not in the habit of making your bed, you may want to simplify your bedding for just this week or two to build the habit. And then you can go back to complicate it when you feel more confident. But I feel like making your bed plays a huge role in helping you with clutter prevention so that you can see what the heck is going on. Because like I mentioned, it kind of hides some stuff. So every morning, in addition to doing your hotspot fire drill, we're going to make our bed, which could take a minute or two if you have very simple bedding. And then we're going to do a light. Y'all hear this word? I need to highlight it. A light. Pick up and put away, okay? Because what I don't want you to do is start venturing into decluttering projects. Just a very light pick up and put away. So anything that made itself somewhere that is not considered a hot spot at this time, then this is when you're going to just do a light pick up and put away, okay? All of this should take you guys 15 minutes, which we'll talk about here. So this is the game that you're gonna play in the morning, all right? So this is, once again, consider all maintenance cleaning. After you do your shiny sink, or whatever, however you wanna arrange that in your schedule, first you're gonna make your bed, okay? We're putting out the fire. It's real hot up in here. That's why we have a thermometer here. First, you're gonna make your bed, okay? That handles a little bit of the problem. Second, you're going to do your hot spots. So that's 2 to 3 of those, the ones that we just talked about. And once again, I know that it seems like it's going to be so hard, but if you're doing it every morning and every night, you're literally just getting the trickle from the day and you're like making sure that that doesn't have a chance to sit there and attract more. And then part 3, you're going to do a light pick up and put away. Do you see the proportions here, people? Okay, make your bed. That's just a little bit of the problem. Hot spots, that's like the biggest chunk of the problem that you're going to tackle in the morning. And look how small that pick up and put away is. It's light, people. Don't get carried away, okay? And then once you do all 3 of those things, in terms of clutter prevention, you are done. You're done every morning and every night. If you do those 3 things, you're done. And so how long should it last? How long should it take you to do this hotspot fire drill? Because I know that it sounds overwhelming. The combination of my shiny sink roll plus my hotspot fire drill is 15 minutes or less, okay? 15 minutes or less. If it's taking you, like, no, I don't want y'all to be like, you know, strict sticklers with the rules and are like, oh, it takes 16 minutes. I'm doing something wrong. If it takes a little bit more one day, that's fine. If it takes a little bit less the next day, that's fine. As long as on average, you're hitting about 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the night, you know that you're on track. For those of you who are on my Instagram last week, you know that I've been showing up and doing my routine so that you guys can see the the realistic. I am not like an aspirational cleaning channel. I'm showing y'all that real life. Y'all know that it, on average, took me 6, 7, or 8 minutes to do my dishes in the morning and in the night. So what am I going to do for the other, 7 to 8 minutes that I have left in my 15 minutes? That's what I'm going to be hitting up these hot spots, girl. I'm about to be clearing off all them surfaces where people have tried to drop their stuff. I'm about to make sure that that bed looks right, and I'm about to do a light pick up and put away. So it should not be taking you a long time if you are not venturing into decluttering projects. So every morning and every night, it's enough. It is enough. I'm telling you, it's enough. Okay, so anything much longer than that, then you may be trickling over into decluttering projects, which if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you want to kind of release the load on yourself, then let's try to save those decluttering projects for zone cleaning, which you will be doing multiple times a week, every week, once we get it added into your system. And you will have plenty of time. And trust me when I tell you this, there's going to be a time where you're going to run out of decluttering projects. You're going to be like, what am I supposed to do now, girl? What am I supposed to do? And that's when we'll start doing deep cleaning. But trust me, we will get to it. And you'll get through so much, and get to a point where you're just like, I don't have anything left to declutter. It's coming, okay? So first, as I mentioned, we're going to start with 2 to 3 hotspots. 4, if you feeling frisky, I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. That's why I'm saying 2 to 3. But if you feel like you can stretch yourself, go for 4. And you're going to make sure that you clear them off. And then once we build this really solid habit and we get used to showing up to doing these hotspot fire drills, we will slowly start to build the number of hotspots in your system. And I'm not even going to have to tell you where those hotspots are because it's going to be very obvious. when we start moving into zone cleaning in week 4, I mean, if you just spent 4 days organizing your bathroom counter, naturally you're going to want to protect it. So that's going to be a new hotspot for you. If you just spent, 2 days clearing off your countertop and your dresser countertop, you're going to want to protect it. So over time, you will add more, and you'll find that it doesn't really add much to your morning routine if you're just in the habit of staying on top of it. So for now, we're just picking 2 to 3, maybe 4 if you feel like it, and it will expand over time. But I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. I feel like you have to do all the things. Just start with the main ones in your living area, and we'll go from there. So my question is, which hotspots are you guys going to pick and focus on this week? Drop your comments down below. So I'm going to go read comments and see what you guys are saying. Okay, so this is from Elizabeth. Oh, this is a good question. I have to dedicate 15 minutes to daily mess and 15 to dishes and shine your sink. No, girl, that's 30-minute. That's a 30-minute morning routine. No. 15 minutes in all. 15 minutes in all. So for me, it takes about 7 to 8 minutes to do my dishes. And then whatever time is remaining, I quickly just do a hotspot fire drill, which I talked about the 3 steps that compose a hotspot fire drill. Make your bed, do your hotspots, pick up and put away. All of that together here should take 15 minutes all together. So that's why this is a maintenance thing. Maintenance routines should be very quick, fast, do it, get out the door. I'm not going to be worrying about this all day. So I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm sure that there are a couple of people who probably thought I was trying to say that as well. Okay. Oh no, Danielle hasn't been on here yet. We're thinking that she's going to come in when we talk about zone cleaning, because she's really good with like doing that consistently. And so we're going to talk about her tips. So if you guys are talking about Danielle from Miss Happy Housewife, oh gosh, I hope I didn't butcher the name. Anyway, she will be on here, but probably closer to week 4 and week 5, where we talk about zone cleaning. So you didn't miss her. We eat, so table. So my hotspot has to be cleaned before dinner and after dinner, girl. That's me. Like what I'll do for my hotspots is, that's another thing I wanted to add is for hotspots and also this whole 15-minute thing. You do not have to wait until cleaning time to do your routine. Okay. Because I certainly don't. If I know that I have this checklist coming at me and I have to get this done by the end of the night, I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, I'm waiting for these noodles to boil. Let me just work on a hotspot while I'm waiting for this. Okay, my kids are watching Baby Shark and everybody's content. Let me just go and tackle this hotspot so I know that this is done before the evening. Yeah, my kids are upstairs with their dad playing video games. I don't know. I'm just thinking of random examples. Let me just go knock out these dishes really fast. So I really want you guys to start opening your eyes to like pockets of time in your evening. And instead of like, I don't know, doing random stuff, just being strategic with those pockets of time, because you don't have to wait until designated cleaning time to knock this stuff off. Now, some nights are just like that. Like my girls will not give me a break. They will not, like I have this one of my daughters, she literally clings onto my dress because she wants to make sure that I'm never more than a few inches away. And on nights like that, then I will, because I find if I wait until the end, like I start getting a little anxious. So I will set that timer and I will get as much of this stuff as I can done in 15 minutes. And so most of the time, that's all I need. I just need 15 minutes and it's done. But let's say that we had like a particularly crazy night. And if there's more than that, anything more than that, I'll just do it in my morning routine. And so the beauty of being consistent with your routines is like whatever you don't finish in your evening routine, you can always catch yourself in your morning routine. And so I'm not telling y'all to do that. And I kind of wish that I would have saved that for troubleshooting. But I'm just telling you, don't feel like you have to wait until designated cleaning time. Give yourself a head start whenever you can so that it's not too much. Because for me, my energy levels, they don't work like that. Like once I'm tired, like the likelihood of me showing up becomes less and less and less. Y'all know I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I cannot be trying to like pull all the things together at 8 o'clock when my boys go to bed. Now it's time for me to clean. Nope. Pockets of time. I got a little window here. Let me hit this hot spot. I got a window there. Let me do a light pickup and put away. I got a window there. Let me just, so I just really wanted to encourage you guys to open your eyes to that. And if it's not possible and you do have to have a designated cleaning time, then here you go. 15-minute morning. I should be done in 15 minutes. Also, I do want to address another question that someone asked me that I talked about on Instagram a little bit in terms of finding pockets of time to work on your sink. This lady mentioned that sometimes she gets overwhelmed with cooking and having a lot of dishes. So one thing that I learned from the Fly Lady is to, before you start cooking, empty your dishwasher and then run a hot soapy sink of water, because your sink is shiny, so it should be very easy to run your sink of water. And then as you're cooking, you can either be throwing your dishes in that hot soapy sink of water so the stuff is already starting to come off of it, or you can be like literally washing and throwing stuff in your dishwasher. Or if there's a pocket of time or you're waiting for something to cook, you can just go wash the dishes that you've already done. And then as more come in and you have a break, you can wash the next batch. So I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but I just want to say that either give yourself a head start, and if you can't, set your timer for 15 minutes. Okay, moving on. Okay, so once again, 15 minutes for sink, then 15 minutes for daily mess. No, 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 no. All together, people, all together. If you're staying on top of your routines every morning and every night, then it should not be taking a long time to, for example, do your morning routine. If you just did the dishes in the night and you're waking up in the morning, it shouldn't take 15 minutes to do the dishes, because how many people are really using dishes overnight, and how many breakfast dishes do you really have? So you should be able in the morning to touch up any dishes that have tried to trickle in, and also run around and do a hot spot fire drill, all of that in 15 minutes. Now in the evening, if nobody's home during the day, like you guys work or you guys go to school or you guys are outside the home, it should be the same. Like how much damage is being done through the day, so quickly grab your dinner dishes, whatever. If you're washing as you go, that's even perfect. And then just quickly do your hotspot fire drill. Now, my family is home all day long, so I have a midday reset. There's 8 of us in the house. So I do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, and 15 minutes at night. And so during the middle of the day, I will reset the dishes, anything that we've accumulated over the morning, throw them in the dishwasher and do a hot spot fire drill. 15 minutes, people. 18. I said there's 8 people in my house. If you have less than 8 people in your house, then this should be 15 minutes should be enough to tackle both of these tasks. Okay. Okay. So people are dropping in their hotspots that they're thinking about doing. Nikki says kitchen table, counters, coffee table. Yes. Okay, save steps. Brooke and I actually carry through. Okay, my hotspots are boring because they don't have a home. Yeah, that's pretty much hotspots typically have a lot of stuff on there where things don't have a home. And so the idea is to get you into the habit of putting stuff back in their home, or at least delegating. Like you don't have to be the one to clean them off. Because sometimes I will tell my kids, come get your folder and put it back where it goes. Come get your stuff, put it in the closet. So you delegate and you make sure that it's just people are getting back into the habit of putting stuff where it goes every morning and every night. And in the midday, if you need a midday reset. You can't organize clutter. Absolutely. And we'll talk about that, especially when we move to home to zone cleaning. The box sounds tempting, girl. What I don't want you to do is to talk yourself out of doing this week. So that's why I said, if you want to take a moment to clear off your hot spots and, do it the traditional way, put everything back, great. But if you're looking at your hot spots and you're like, no, ma'am, not today, I'm not doing this, I don't want you to have any reason to talk yourself out of it. That's why I'm saying no judgment zone over here. If you need to just, because you want a clean slate so people will stop putting their stuff up there. So if you need to do something with it temporarily, you need to do a little stash and dash. Girl, ain't nobody judging you over here, okay? I don't want you to be stressed out and talk yourself out of this, because this is such an easy routine. And I don't want you to feel like you have to do all the things before you can implement this, because it's not true, okay? 2 minutes per hotspot for me. Okay. Some people, I know that they have that on the Fly Lady system where for people who really need that, because if you're likely to talk yourself out of doing this, then just set your timer for 15 minutes or 2 minutes or 7 minutes or however many minutes that you think that you can show up. So once again, the whole idea is we don't want you guys, Marla is not a part of this. I don't want you guys talking yourself out of doing this, because it can be super easy, but you have to be consistent in order for it to remain easy. Where do I find the printables? Janet, I'm going to email, if you are signed up on my email list, I'm going to email the updated printables sometime this evening after we go live today. So look out for those in your email sometime this evening. And if you haven't signed up already, then you can go to the previous video and see where I put a link to sign up. And then I'll also include a link here once we're done. And then can't wait until I get to that point. I'm assuming you're talking about like once you finish your decluttering projects. I started a year ago. You'll be amazed at yourself at time as time goes by. Absolutely. I started a year ago too, S Oak. And it's just crazy. Like, I just feel like I'm in a new house sometimes. And I love my checklist. Yay, I'm glad that you like it. My kitchen was so much cleaner than usual this week. I spent less time doing it. I'm so glad to step away from binge and burnout cleaning. Yes, good. I hope that you guys had a lot of good results. And so literally adding this little step, your hotspot fire drill. And by the way, you guys, I know I said make your bed. I just thought about this. Obviously, you don't need to make your bed at night, okay? Like in the evening, it's just going to be the hot spots and the light pick up and put away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that. Okay, so yeah, I'm hoping that adding this little task on top of what you're already doing won't feel like much extra at all. Like I literally just remember when I started just feeling like, okay, this is not so bad. Like I could do this. And I really want you guys to have that experience this week. For 15 minutes, I feel like it's just not too much to ask. Okay. And I gave away so much stuff I wasn't using and I don't miss it anymore. Same here. I got rid of a lot of stuff. All right. So let's continue. Let's see, how are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing okay. We're about 1 hour in this thing. Let's move it to the next module. The next module is going to be troubleshooting because it took me a while to kind of like figure this out and to not feel overwhelmed by this. So I want to talk to you guys about some things that came up for me and how I worked through that or how I think through that or how my perspective on it. And hopefully that will kind of prepare you guys for this week if you feel like something's not working out. Okay, so troubleshooting. Oh, also, like I said, and I kind of talk about this a lot on my Instagram, you guys. Sometimes when you're starting something new, it is normal for it not to feel smooth and ironed out at first. That's why we're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep trying so we can figure out where those kinks are and then make it better. Some people, when they bump up against obstacles, they're like, oh, this is a sign that it's not working. But I really want you guys to start thinking that this is a sign that there's something that I need to change. If it doesn't feel easy, if it feels like you are doing too much, if it feels too hard, that is not a sign that you need to like push harder through it or that, this is the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to suffer. No, that's a sign that there's something that's off and we need to tweak it. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what I've done in terms of this to kind of make it feel better for me, even if all it was just a mindset tweak. It all helps. Sorry, I need to get a drink of water. So number one, if you feel like this is too hard for me to keep up with, I don't even know what she's talking about. How am I supposed to keep these clean? And I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna feel like that until you actually do it. If you feel like that now, just know it's normal. I felt the same way until you actually do it for like 1 or 2 days, and then you realize that, oh, okay, that's not so bad. I'm used to cleaning up like weeks worth of clutter, and when I'm only cleaning up 12 hours worth of clutter, it's not so bad in comparison. Like I said, if you're used to binge cleaning, this is gonna feel easy for you. So if you've been binge cleaning, I don't want to hear it. I'm just joking, but this is gonna feel easy for you. But let's say that you feel like it's too hard. My biggest tip is to make sure that you are not venturing off into full-blown decluttering projects, which is very, very easy to do when you're just starting, because it's not going to be so obvious that this is today's cleaning, this is like cleaning for tomorrow. But I really want you to like be intentional and think about that. And so if you feel like it's too hard, just really make sure you're not venturing into decluttering. It should be clear those hot spots off, prevent trickle, and a light pick up and put away for things that just didn't land in your hot spot. Like I said, shoes, laundry that people threw off and put on the floor, just very light. And then for me, depending on the size of your home, you may not even have to do a fire drill in your whole home at this time. For me, I really try to keep my hotspot fire drills to my master bedroom, my kids' bedroom. We have like public spaces, stuff like that. But there's like sections of my home that I'm just like, I'm not there yet. I'm building up my skills, but like there's not enough traffic in this room, like my guest rooms. And then even I have like an upstairs living room. There's just not enough traffic up there right now. And literally I can pull that place back together in my zone cleaning. So you may want to think about also, are you trying to do too much at once? Now, if you have like a smaller home, then you may be able to do this. But really, like I said, the whole idea is just really designate the most important areas for you and really try to make sure that you're not venturing into zone cleaning at this time. My house is still messy. I must not be doing this right. Okay, so I want to talk about this because I know that as people who live in the YouTube era, the Instagram era, we really have this perception that our home is supposed to be 100% clean 100% of the time. And I just want to let you guys know that if somebody else could do that, that is great for them. But I want to believe that for like the average folk who don't want to spend all day cleaning, that's not realistic, you guys. We have families, people still live here. Like, this is not a model home. And so that's why we have a solution in place to begin with, is because we're not going to pretend like it's not going to happen. We're not going to pretend like our family's not going to pull stuff out, that, we're not going to like lay stuff where it doesn't belong. So instead of pretending like it's not supposed to happen and then being mad when it does, let's just create a simple solution around it. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, done. Okay, so if there are periods in the day where it looks a little cray cray, that's normal. That's why, like I said, we're creating this system. But here's the thing: once you, in combination with doing your morning and evening routine, and once we get the zone cleaning done, girl, I don't care how crazy your house looks, you will always be 15 minutes away from being company ready. And let me tell you, there have been times in my life where that has not been true. That has not been the truth, especially before I started my routines. If somebody was coming to my house, I would be mortified because I felt like it would take hours to pull this place back together. And then, I would do all that and then it wouldn't even stay nice anyway, like once they left. So if you have a good, solid routine, you got your maintenance routines working for you, girl, and it's just the middle of the day and you haven't done your evening routine yet, and somebody calls and you're like, I'm coming over, 15 minutes. 15 minutes, company ready. Okay. So as long as I know that my house is not venturing beyond that 15 minutes, if it's a little crazy during the day, so what? Like, my kids still live here. I'm not going to like deprive them of their toys because I want my house to be perfect 100% of the time. It's not realistic. But like I said, if you have a good, solid routine in place, it should never be more than 15 minutes to recover. And so I just really want you guys to just be realistic about the fact that a lot of us, we're moms, we have families, and it's not going to be 100% clean 100% of the time. If you're able to accomplish that, good for you, girl. But I personally, I'm not going to be like running around my house every hour, every 2 hours, trying to make sure it looks perfect. I'm not doing it. And so if you want to, great for you. You're good above and beyond, but I don't condone it. Like, it's normal. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just telling you, like, there literally people can walk off the street. And if you come at just the right time, you're going to be like, fly lady, who, girl? Fly lady, who? Like, your house is looking rough. If you call and you come over to my house unannounced, and it's the middle of the day and I haven't hit them routines yet, there are some points of time in my day where things just look a little bit questionable. But that's just how it is going to be for now until my kids are older, like probably like teenagers, and they make less of a mess. So I just want to throw that out there. It's normal and it's okay. Because like I said, if you're an announced guest and I know you're coming, don't worry. This place will be back you won't even know that I had kids up in here because it will be back pulled together in 15 minutes. Okay. So that's that. I feel overwhelmed. Once again, there are times where I leave, for example, maybe I'll go and run some errands, or maybe I'll have a mommy self-care day, and like things just get buck wild because I'm not showing up doing my routines because I'm not there. And so anytime that you feel overwhelmed, this is my go-to sequence right here. This is my go-to sequence. Before I let my brain convince me that this is out of control, like, what am I doing here? This is stupid. This is dumb. Girl, set that timer for 15 minutes, shiny sink, hot spot, fire drill, 15 minutes. And then once I do this sequence, then I assess the damage, because there's no point assessing the damage if you haven't done this yet. And so assess the damage after you've done your routine. And there's a good chance that it's not as bad as it seems. That's certainly been my case. No matter how overwhelmed I feel, if I run through and do my 15 minutes, most of the damage can be recovered during that time. And then after that, then assess the situation, then assess like what still needs to be done. And sometimes all you need is another day of zone cleaning. And then most of the stuff is pulled back together. So I just want to encourage you that when you feel overwhelmed, don't be aimless. Don't just start doing all the things. Hit your routine, do your steps, and then go from there. And then, like I said, I had a party that I needed to recover from once. And literally, I just did like the routines that I normally did, and I added a little bit of zone cleaning. And I recovered from that party. Like, I think I did most of it in one day, one evening, and then the next day I did a little bit of zone cleaning the next day, and we were done. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes things can look worse. Our minds really have a way of convincing us that things are worse than they really are. Our minds have a way of convincing us that things will take longer than they really take. So that's why I really am an advocate for setting that timer, so that you can consistently start providing that evidence to your brain that sometimes it's just not as bad as what I think it is. Next thing, if it's too much, figure out how to make it less so that it's easier. Okay. The biggest example that comes to me is toys for my pick up and put away. I decided that that would be the thing that I would focus on. I would put away my kids' toys every morning and every night just to make sure that it didn't have a chance to get out of control. And I quickly found that I did not like that. And instead of me saying, like, oh, girl, you need to be more disciplined, you need to work harder, girl, I was like, I'm about to put half of these toys in a box and put it in my closet. I'm not going to be doing this every morning and every night. And when I did that, I went from taking several minutes, 5 minutes to pick up toys, to just one or two, just snatch some toys up and throw it in a box. Okay. And then for a while, we just rotated. Every couple of days, you get a fresh batch of toys. It's like Christmas up in here. Okay. Because I'm not about to be taking too long to pick this stuff up. And so anytime something feels like it's too much for you, start thinking about, how can I make this less? How can I make this easier? And another thing is, just because you're protecting your hotspot and you're trying to make sure your hotspots don't get disrespected, that doesn't mean that you have to do all the cleaning. If you have other people in the house, really try to delegate and ask people to help you. Now, I don't even touch the toys anymore. So I allow my kids to have full access to all their toys, which they don't have very many, by the way, compared to what I see on social media. Now they have full range of their toys because they're the ones who don't pick them up at the end of the day. So really try to delegate if you can. You're just the person in charge and who's taking the lead in determining what we're going to focus on. But if you can, and if you have the option, really just try to delegate to people and have them help you put the stuff where it goes. And so that's that. So if it's too easy, if it's too much, figure out how to make it easier. Yeah. So the idea is, we want this to be as easy for you as possible. I don't want you guys like really feeling like you're struggling with this. Put on some good music, put on Nurse Mom Flybaby got me into audiobooks, put on an audiobook, put on a podcast, and really just spend your 15 minutes doing this. And it really, really makes a difference, and it keeps stuff from coming back. And to me, 15 minutes is worth it. It is worth it to not feel like I have to binge clean. And then the last thing is, if I feel like I'm cleaning my hotspots all the time, girl, you told me to protect these hotspots, and I'm so tired of touching these hotspots. Stop doing that. Okay. It kind of goes back up to this point here. It's normal for stuff to trickle on your hotspot morning and night. And if you need to have a midday reset, like it feels like it's too much at night to just do it all at night, morning, noon, and night. For me, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then, y'all, I need y'all to look in my eyes, see how serious I am when I tell you this. I do not clean between breakfast and lunch. I do not clean between lunch and dinner. I don't like cleaning that much. And if you have this very strategic maintenance routine in place, it's not necessary. Yes, stuff is going to trickle there. But instead of trying to like micromanage your hotspot and make sure nobody's dropping stuff, why don't you, girl, use that time to go read a book. Use that time to go work on your project. Use that time to like be enjoying your kids or do something fun. Okay. Don't like micromanage these hotspots to the point where you feel like you don't have a life. Okay. That's all I want to say there. Morning, noon, and night, girl, and you are good. Okay. So that's that. Let me jump back into the comments. Okay. Exactly. Kids will pull out their toys. Yep. I feel more productive when I set a timer. Me too. This is from Judy. Hey, girl. I suck at putting a routine together for myself. Like, I don't IDK what to put. I know in my head, but IDK how to get it like a checklist form, if that makes sense. So, Melissa, I'm creating like a printable kind of document to go along with the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. So far, you guys only have the first 4 pages. But your girl has really been trying to put the whole printable together. And I think it's going to make it so obvious. I hope that when I'm on these, like, first of all, if you watched last week, we talked about we have 4 different types of cleaning. And yeah, so whenever as you're flipping through the booklet, it's going to be very apparent that, okay, right now I'm in maintenance. There's a sheet for maintenance cleaning. I should be doing this, this, and this. It should only take me 15 minutes. Done. I'm going to move up into zone cleaning. Okay, here's my instructions for zone cleaning. I should be doing this, this, and this. And when my 15 minutes are over, I'm done for the day. Here's my instructions for my weekly home blessing. Okay, this is my to-do list, 10 minutes each. Girl, I even got like a little, what's it called? Like a little schedule that, and I've created like 5 different sample schedules. So you can figure out how to fit your routines into your day, depending on your personality. Are you a night owl? Are you a morning person? Are you a working mom? Are you a nap time warrior? Like, what kind of person are you? And then you can kind of see some sample schedules, and then you just plug it in. Like, you have your own schedule, and then you're like, okay, maybe this is how I'll plug mine into my week. So I'm really trying to bring my A game with this printable to make it super easy and easy for you to follow along with, especially if you've been here on the lives. And so, and that I'm gonna just slowly send that out. So right now you just have the first 4 pages, but there are several pages that are coming. And honestly, I say several, I don't even think it's really just a couple of instructions for each type of cleaning. So that's coming. So last thing is I want to leave you guys off with some tips for success. This week, focus on your shiny sink, do your hotspot fire drills, and then do the best you can with everything else. Like, we'll get there, I promise. And also really start being aware of the trickle effect, you guys. You guys know I like to talk about that. When I do the dishes and my hot spots are clear, kind of like what do I feel like I gravitate toward? Because you'll start noticing that, and I'll talk about that maybe a little bit more later. But I started noticing that I felt compelled to do things I ain't ever felt compelled to do, because it just feels weird, when your kitchen is 80% clean. I got these dishes done, girl. I got these hot spots. Like, I'm almost done. Like, let me just, you'll start feeling like pulled towards certain things. And so we'll talk about that later. So 15 minutes. Number 1 tip for success: set your timer, because your brain will try to tell you not to do this week. It's too much time. It's going to take too long. Set your timer so you can start providing your brain with that evidence that no, it's not. It's worth it. It's 15 minutes. It's not going to take me all day. And yeah, another thing that I mentioned is don't feel like you have to wait until cleaning time to get the stuff done. Spread it throughout the evening if you can. If you have a pocket of time here while you're waiting for the noodles to cook, clear off a hotspot. If you have a pocket of time there while the kids are watching Baby Shark, take 6 minutes to do your shiny sink. If you have a pocket here, so really try to see where those pockets are, and try to use them, because like these little assignments are so small, you can really fit them into little moments of downtime in your night, and try your best to do that so that you don't have to do it all in the evening, or you don't have to do it all at one time. But if for some reason you have to, then fine. 15 minutes to me, I'm like, I used to be a serial binge cleaner. 15 minutes, I could do that. It's not gonna hurt me. Okay. Be intentional. Make sure that you ask yourself, like, what am I doing here? What type of cleaning am I in? Last week, we talked about the 4 different types of cleaning. So make sure that if you say you're doing maintenance stuff, really try to like finish your maintenance tasks before you move into zone cleaning. Because what I don't want you guys to do is try to jumble and go back and forth and then get yourself all tired and worn out and then not able to stick with your maintenance routines. And so really just be intentional about setting that timer and trying to stick with one type of cleaning at a time, so that you can really just see yourself being more evenly spread throughout the types of cleaning, and having a more comprehensive system. But it really starts with getting really good at the foundation, your maintenance stuff. Rescue. Just like last week, we talked about how your shiny sink was your baby. You're going to protect it. Your family is going to try to drop stuff in there, and you're just going to take the stuff out the sink and put it back to the side. That's how you're going to have to be with these hotspots, you guys. Don't like wait for people to come and do it for you. Really try to take charge here. And like I said, I'd be delegating. Hey, can you take this back to the bathroom? Hey, put your backpack in the closet. Like, delegate. But this is your baby. Try not to let people just leave their stuff there indefinitely, and you try not to do the same thing as well. And if you do it twice a day, morning and night, midday reset if you need one, then it really is manageable. Especially once we get into that zone cleaning. Oh, I'm so excited for y'all. And then, so my question is, what am I going to do when my family leaves stuff in my hotspot? delegate at the end, or whenever you're doing your routines, ask them to help you put that stuff away, or just put it away yourself. However you want to do that, that's your baby, and you're not going to wait for other people to, just like I said, you wouldn't let somebody disrespect your baby. Don't let people disrespect your sink. Don't let people disrespect your hot spots. Just really ask them to take their stuff, and if they're not willing to do it yet, you just do it for them for now, until you can figure out what you want to do with them in terms of getting them more involved in your routines. Okay. Energy. Think about, when is the best time of the day for me to get this done? Do not wait until the end of the night if you know that you don't have a lot of energy at the end of the night. Usually, for me, I do my routines in the morning, like around breakfast time, because I'm already up and moving. I'm already helping my kids do all the things. So I do them then, because I know that if I sit down and I turn on a movie or I watch some TV, that's it. I'm not getting back up. And honestly, if I didn't have children to take care of, I probably wouldn't be getting up for lunch either. But I am not trying to neglect my children. So I get up again for lunch, and I'm like, since I'm already up, uh-oh, what did I just do? I don't know what I just did, y'all. Control Z. Okay. Since I'm already up and moving, let me just maximize this energy that I have to get these dishes done. They say an object in motion stays in motion. I said this last week. An object at rest stays at rest. So stop expecting yourself to just get up, when it's not, like, work within your zone of energy and figure out, when do I have the most energy and when can I get this in? And once again, as I mentioned, also consider working in pockets of time. Maybe in the morning, when you hop out of the bed, maybe you don't want to wait to make your bed. Maybe you just make your bed right then and there. So that way, that's one thing to knock off your checklist. When you're going in the bathroom and getting dressed, maybe instead of waiting until you have designated cleaning time, you're like, I know it's coming. Let me just shove the stuff back in the counter or wherever. And so really just try to think about pockets of time and working with the energy that you already have. Like I was going to say earlier, I know for me, if I wait until the end of the night to think I'm supposed to clean for my evening routine, I have set myself up for failure, because my energy just doesn't exist past a certain time. So I try to get myself done early, or in pockets of time. Sometimes I will have some untraditional cleaning times. I will start cleaning like after I'm done cooking. My kids probably haven't even eaten yet, but I'm like, wait, before I put the food on the table, let me just clean up what I've done, because I know that once I sit down and eat this good, delicious meal, that's it. Like, it's over. I'm done. So let me just set myself up so that all I have to do is like put the dishes away, or the dishes that we just ate. I'm not starting from scratch, So really try to think about that, how to really make sure that you're maximizing your energy to actually get this stuff done. When am I going to work on my simple morning and evening routine? That's the question. Decisive. So I told you guys just a moment ago, I strongly advocate for working in pockets of time when you can. But if you can't, set your timer and then do it all at once when you can. But let's say that you decided to do your evening routine early, as I often do. It really try to be strategic about that. For example, if I'm like knowing that I'm gonna start doing my hotspot pickups and stuff early, my hotspot fire drill early, I'm not going to go pick up the toys when I know that my toddlers are still awake, because they're just going to drag it back out, and then I'm going to be doing double work. So just really be strategic about that. Like, if you decide to get ahead of the game, like, is this really the best time for me to do this? Or should I wait like another 30 minutes until the little babies are in bed? And then that way, if I clean it up, I know it's done for the night. So I just want to encourage you guys to do that. But for me, a lot of my hotspots have things on them. I know that if I put this lotion back in the bathroom, there's a good chance somebody's going to bring the lotion back out. If I put these bottles where they go, there's a good chance somebody's going to bring this stuff out. So when I'm saying give yourself a head start, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Stuff that there's a pretty good chance it's not coming back. Like, save your energy for the stuff that it's coming back, like toys. And then be realistic. We talked about this already, you guys. Like, if stuff starts trickling on your hotspots, that's normal. We have families. Like, as long as you have a system in place to tackle it every morning and every night, it should be pretty reasonable to stay on top of. The reason that it felt unreasonable before is because we were letting that stuff kind of build up and like over the course of several days. And that's much harder than to clean it up every 12 hours or every 6 hours for the people who want to have a midday reset. So just be realistic and know it's normal. Stuff will trickle there. Don't let that be something that discourages you and make you feel like this isn't working. Inspiration. Just like we look at our shiny sink and we use that as a symbol to be like, girl, I did that. Same thing with these cleared off hotspots. When you walk by them, really try to give yourself a pat on the back for having a small win and getting that done. You guys have no idea how huge this is going to, or let me charge my tablet. Hold on. Okay, you have no idea how much this is going to set you up for success whenever we start moving into zone cleaning. Because as I mentioned, with zone cleaning, we're going to be tackling those decluttering projects. But it's like if you zone clean and you have no way to maintain the work that you just did, it's all going to come crumbling back down on you. So by getting this maintenance system and getting it really solid and getting it down this week, experimenting of how you want it to go, you are setting yourself up for success, girl, when we add that zone cleaning in there. So don't feel like this isn't worthwhile, or don't feel like, oh, but I see all this mess everywhere. You know, celebrate that small win because you're really setting yourself up for success as we move on. L, love. So I'm going to spend some time here for just a minute. One thing that Fly Lady said in her book, and she kind of like, I remember reading it, she kind of glossed over it and moved on. But this actually was huge for me. Once you clear off your hotspots, you may want to consider adding some decorations to them. In the book, she said that when your hotspots are decorated, it kind of like keeps people from dropping stuff on your hotspots as much. And I tried that, and that's exactly what happened. I have hotspots, like I told you guys, I have one in my entryway when you first come in, and I used to struggle with that hotspot so much. Girl, all I did was added some plastic plants and a lamp, and don't you know, nobody drops stuff on that hotspot anymore. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but really consider finding like what you have around the house, or if you need to make a trip to Home Goods, girl, Ross, whatever, get some cheap little stuff to throw up there to make it look decorative and pretty. I know it doesn't seem like it's going to help very much, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's kind of like, you know, when you go to someone else's house and their house is like put together and you're just like, I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to mess anything up. I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know what kind of magic it does, but literally, like, people just don't drop stuff there anymore. People literally will take their stuff to a different surface. So I'm just throwing that out there. And even like with your bed, she recommended having some bedding that really sparks joy. And for me, this helps me make my bed. Like, I wasn't a bed maker before I got in my systems together. And girl, all I did, I already had like a bed cloth that I liked. So all I did was I just went over to Home Goods and grabbed like a handful of pillows that really just sparked joy for me. My favorite color is red. So I have like red pillows, and it really makes a difference. And so not only does it help people not feel as tempted to drop stuff on your hotspots anymore, but once again, it really goes back to, you want to have like all the good vibes, all the good jujus, because when you make your bed and you feel a sense of pride in what you just did, or a sense of accomplishment in what you just did, you're more likely to stick with the system. I think I read that also in James Clear, but y'all know I'm always talking about James Clear from Atomic Habits. He said that pretty much, yeah, when you have habits where you feel like a sense of pride in them and you feel like good about them, you're more likely to stick with it. So I'm not telling y'all to go on a shopping spree or like do all the things. Literally, for most of my stuff, I just use stuff that I had in the house, and I strategically placed it on a hotspot. And for a lot of my hotspots, it actually helped, and it keeps people now for today from dropping stuff on there. So now, obviously, this isn't going to work for your heavily used hotspots, like maybe in your kitchen. I mean, people have to use it. So even if it doesn't keep people away, like it does for other hotspots, it still helps with that sense of pride that you're going to have when you look back at what you're doing. And that's how you know if you're on the right track, is whenever you start feeling good. I was talking to a friend about this in the comments the other day. She said that when her house feels crappy, she feels crappy. And I was like, did you know that it could work the other way around too? That when you feel good about what you're doing, you're more motivated to make your environment feel good as well. So yes, our environment has a lot to do with the way we feel, but also the other way around. The way we feel has a lot to do with impacting our environment. So this is one of those areas where you can really make a difference in the way that you feel when you clear those hotspots off. And you're like, wow, look at my little, little decorative situation here. It don't even have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be coordinated with nothing. Just needs to make you smile. That's it. And you really do a lot in encouraging yourself to stick with this system for the long haul by giving yourself that positive feedback, that reinforcement that, people try to act like it's not important, but I know firsthand it is important. The way you feel is significantly important. And this is one of those little small things that you can do to make yourself feel good so that you will continue to spread those good feelings into your environment. Okay. And then last thing is, what can I do to my hotspots that will spark joy? Last thing is longevity, which I've kind of hinted about a lot throughout this, is if you get this right, you guys, that 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, you have really set yourself up to maintaining your home for the long haul. And I know it's not going to feel like that now when you still have decluttering projects that you need to do, but we will get to them. And it's like once you get to them, like having this maintenance system in place is what keeps stuff from coming back. And if you would have asked me about this before I started Fly Lady, I would have never believed you. I'd have been like, you're just bold-faced lying to me. But this has been my experience, and I feel confident that I can help recreate those results for you if you show up and you are consistent and you really try to do this. And I feel like if you're used to binge cleaning, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening, 15-minute reset if you need it, that's not too much to ask. And so I just need you guys to stick with me, be consistent, and let's build this habit for you so that you can have long-term lasting decluttered spaces once we get there. And that is it. We did it. Oh, the agenda is complete. Okay, we talked about the different types of clutter. We talked about hotspots and how to do a hotspot fire drill. We talked about troubleshooting when things feel difficult. And lastly, we talked about our bonus tips for success. For this week, I want you to go clear off your designated hotspots, which we talked about. Get about 2 to 3 of them cleared off. We're starting from scratch. We are going to update our control journal to include your hotspots. So if you print off the new control journal that I just created, then that's already added on there. So I went ahead and added that for you in your morning routine and evening routine. If you need a midday routine, just add it there too. And then on here, you'll notice that I also added laundry. That's not for this week. We'll talk about all the hacks for next week, but I just wanted this page to be done. And so if you put this like in a little plastic sleeve, now that I've just added a little more to your plate for this week, you really want to get in the habit of tracking. So if you put this in one of those little plastic sheet protectors and you have like a little dry erase marker, you can literally track your progress throughout the day. Once again, the morning routine, 15 minutes, you guys. Midday reset, 15 minutes if you need this. Not all of you guys are going to need this because your families are going to be much smaller than mine. And then also your evening routine, 15 minutes, but really try to work in the gaps if you can. Just knock it off little by little throughout the evening so that basically before you sit down for the night, all this stuff is done. But that should be about 15 minutes worth of work. And then try to do your hotspot fire drills at least twice a day. On Instagram, when we were talking about the shiny sink rule, some of you guys were struggling with that. And it turned out that you were just doing it once a day. If you just do this stuff once a day, it is going to feel a little bit harder. But it's the fact that you're showing up, girl, you're consistent. Good for you. But if you want it to feel easier, at least twice a day. If you want it to feel even easier than that, 3 times. And then as I mentioned, make sure you're tracking using your highlighter or whatever you want to use to track your progress throughout the day to make sure that you're not leaving anything. Because if you forget something, then that's how it leads to build up. And then for everything else, do the best you can. And be aware of the trickle effect. You never know what you're going to start feeling like doing once these things are done. In my opinion, this is the bulk of the work, you guys, in terms of pulling a space back together. If you do the dishes and you make your bed and you clear off your hot spots, girl, that's like most of the work. And if you're doing it every morning and night, and I said it's 15 minutes, it's not going to be that much. And so what does it feel like for you when your dishes are clean and you got your hot spots under control? And you did a light pick up and put away? Like, what does that feel like for you? Like, what do you naturally want to do next? And just be in tune with that, but don't get carried away. I don't want you guys stressing yourself out and then not coming back for week 3. This is the printable. And I should have updated on here, but this is the updated printable now. And if you're on my email list, you will have this and you'll get this after this live. Like, I'll try to send it out this evening if I can. And also don't forget that we are on Instagram, hashtag peaceful homekeeping. If you tag me, Love Always Lede on Instagram, showing off your work, I will reshare your work in my Instagram stories, because I feel like it's very motivational to people when people can see your shiny sink, when people can see your beautiful hot spots. Not only should you show off for yourself because you're proud of what you've done, but it really helps other people feel like, okay, I might as well get up. This is only 15 minutes worth of work. If she can accomplish these results in 15 minutes, what can I do? And so it's really inspirational for people. And so I personally am going to be on there all week, Monday through Friday morning. I may not show up on Friday nights because your girl needs a break, but I'll be on there throughout the week, showing you guys so that when you see my messy hot spots, you're not going to feel bad about yours, because you're going to be like, oh, that's normal. Like I said, on Instagram, people have a way of making you feel like your home should never get messy. But no, you're going to see the real. You're going to see what it looks like before and after. So I can prove to you guys that it's not too much. It's not too much to ask, and it's realistic, and it can be done in 15 minutes. So you'll see me being a living testament of that throughout the week. I'm sending out daily motivational emails. Also on Instagram, I have daily motivational posts. So if you want those to encourage you to keep going, the emails were so important to me when I started my Fly Lady system, because they reminded me that, girl, we got work to do. We have a goal, we have a mission, we have a purpose. So I want to do that for you guys. So make sure you sign up for the emails if you haven't. If you feel stuck with anything, or if something comes up for you, if you have a question, if you're unclear about something, reach out to me on Instagram. Also, I have a feedback form that I'll provide in the email. So just fill out that feedback form. And if I get like enough feedback, I will go live on my Instagram, just kind of walking you through some of the concerns that I have, because if you have that concern, there's a good chance that there's other people who have that. Last week, I did go live on Instagram addressing some questions about the shiny sink rule. So I'll do the same when it comes to these hot spots if I get enough. And so now I just want to take a moment to do question and answers. So let's see. Okay, so oh, okay, it's working. Okay. Girl, I don't know what's going on with my tablet over here. All right, so we're going back looking at questions and answers. Trying to get back to where I was. This is from Sunflower Glow. Hey, girl. Thank you so much for joining. Did you say nap time warrior? Girl, nap time warrior. When these babies were like even smaller than what they are now, girl, I find that it's cool to be a nap time warrior when you're strategic. It wasn't cool before Fly Lady because I was just trying to do all the things. So I was tired. And then the babies were waking up and I'm like, oh, I didn't even get a chance to take a break. But now I'm a nap time warrior because I'm strategic about what I'm working on for 15 minutes. And then the rest of that nap time, your girl is chilling. I'm not even playing with y'all. And this is from Melissa. You're the best. Thank you. You're so kind. This will be helpful. So helpful. Yes, it feels good. The boss of your home. You are correct. Yes, ma'am. Back again. Had a phone call. Hey, Maria, welcome back. You can watch the replay. Yes, the replay is going to be available for 24 hours, you guys. My content is really directed toward people who maybe know a little bit about the system or who have never heard about the system. And the last thing I want is for somebody new to come on here, the people that I'm trying to really target, and be like, what is this 2-hour log mess? So I'm going to leave it up here for 24 hours, and then I'm going to take it down and I'm going to chop it back up into bite-sized pieces and redistribute what we've talked about here. So 24 hours, guys, if you want to watch it now. Also, if you're on my email list, I will be sending you a playback, sending the playback to people on my email list as well. But in terms of my YouTube channel, no, I'm going to chop it up and just make it like bite-sized because I don't want to scare people. And yeah, you can watch the replay. I'm putting plants on my hotspot. Yes, girl. I don't trust myself to keep like real plants alive. So I will put some plastic plants on a hotspot in a minute. Load of laundry. So Maria, I mentioned that what I've done is so that I don't have to resend this to you, the same sheet to you every week. I just put load of laundry because that's what we're doing next week. So for this week, all you're going to do is the shiny sink, make your bed, hotspots, and a quick light pick up and put away. That's it. Laundry, we first need to get like set up, because I don't know if you noticed, like for all of these routines, we have like a setup that we need to do first before we can implement the routine. So next week, I'm going to talk about how to like set yourself up for success. And we're going to get our setups together first before we work on that laundry routine. But I put it on here for now because as far as I'm concerned, this is the daily maintenance routine for me, because I talked about that trickle effect, girl. If you do all of this stuff, everything else to me is negotiable. And I know that that's going to be hard for some of y'all to hear, because this is what I find a lot of people are doing. They have 20 items on their morning routine. Girl, they gotta do the dishes, clean up them hot spots. They gotta mop. They gotta wipe down every surface. They gotta do the no. You gonna hit these 3 buckets, 1, 2, 3, dishes, hot spots, and laundry. And then everything else, typically what you will find is that the cleaner your home gets, it just looks weird for you to have all the dishes done, all the clutter put away, and then for your counters to be messy. So there's a good chance that most of you guys want to have a clean home. You just want it to feel easy to clean. And once you accomplish that, you feel like this is like so easy and realistic, you're going to naturally want to wipe your counters down. If you need to mop more than once a week, you're going to naturally want to do that because it's not going to feel so hard anymore. You're going to naturally want to sweep. So I'm not adding that to your list because there's a good chance that if you don't, like, let's say you're not feeling sweeping today and the floor is met, girl, if you don't sweep, you didn't just shoot yourself in the foot. Like, if you don't get to it, it's negotiable to me. Like, once you go beyond these 3, clutter prevention, dishes, and laundry, everything else is negotiable to me. If I don't wipe my counters today, I did not just 10 times my work for lunch. But if I don't do these dishes, yes, I did. I just made my life harder for me. If I skip dishes twice, I just made my life harder for me. And I've just allowed things to build up for me. So like I'm saying, I'm not telling you guys not to wipe your counters, not to mop, not to sweep, not to do all the things. I'm just saying that for most of you guys, if you are highly motivated to get your home together, you will do that stuff. Trickle effect, girl, you will do it once it feels easy and you position yourself. I kind of talked about this last week. Sometimes like your morning routines can kind of like determine the path that you take in the day. If you get up and you don't do your morning routines, you're less likely to sweep. You're less likely to wipe your counters. You're less likely to like do a light tidy. You're just less likely to do stuff. But if you wake up and you're like, let me hammer this stuff out first, let me set my timer, let me get these dishes together, let me do this hotspot fire drill, let me, for next week, throw in this load of laundry, you're more likely to do stuff. If your kitchen's clean, you're more likely to cook. If your kitchen's clean, you're more likely to wipe down surfaces. If your kitchen's clean, you're more likely to sweep. Girl, I tell y'all this story all the time. I was not about that sweeping under the table life before Fly Lady, because I'm like, I'm tired of doing this. Y'all just gonna come back for lunch and mess up this floor. So I'm sweeping once at the end of the day. But now I can't do it. It rubs me the wrong way. If the like my sink looks amazing, my hot spots are beautifully decorated, they look amazing. Like, just something irritates me about seeing crap on the floor when everything else looks beautiful. And I'm like, I didn't just burn myself out. I still have lots of energy. It's still early in the day. So let me just go ahead and, pick this up like 2 seconds. But I didn't feel that way before when I felt like everything was building up on me. So, but yeah, so I'm not adding anything else to this list. Now, if you find that like I'm really having a hard time sweeping, then you will start to add to your routines one by one by one, like how we've been doing it. We're taking it a little bit at a time. You will do the same thing for yourself. Because like I said, the last thing I want you to do is fill this sheet up and then be like overwhelmed. And then the stuff that you were going to do anyway, I'm not going to put that on here because most of you guys are not struggling with some of that other stuff. So I'm saving this list strategically for the things that give us a hard time. And then the stuff that you was going to do anyway, or the stuff that, if you show up or not, that's on you. Like, I just don't want you to feel stressed out. And literally, it's so easy to wipe a counter. You're probably going to do it anyway. If you're feeling good about your home, which we're trying to get you to that point, you're going to do this stuff anyway. So I don't know why I went off on that little tangent. All right. Our kitten's chewing on plants. Oh no! Haha, got to get it done so I can take a nap. I don't have kids, but I'm an older lady. Yeah. This is from Maria. This feels so doable. All right, so that's it for me for this week, oh my gosh, y'all, it's hot. Um, Follow me on Instagram, as I said, because I will be in communication, and that's where all the inspiration happens. Follow me on my emails, and I'm so happy to see that you guys are here. And let me know how it's going. I really want to hear the feedback because I feel like adding these couple of things to your to-do list shouldn't be too overwhelming. But if it is, I want to know. But I feel like 15 minutes is still realistic, especially if you're used to binge cleaning and stuff like that, as I was. So just give me feedback because like for the next challenge, if it's too much or if it's too little, it will inform how I approach it the next time. So, all right, I will see you guys next week. Next week, we are going to talk about laundry, and then you guys will have been doing your morning routines for 21 days at that time. That's huge. Everybody says it takes 21 days to build a habit, you guys. So if you stick with your morning routine for another week, I know it's going to be really hard, especially once that excitement starts to wear down. It gets really hard. But really spend a lot of time thinking about how can I get through this? For me, it's music. There's something about a little bit of Beyonce that gets your girl ready to shine some sinks. Okay. For me, it's podcasts. Something about being distracted from what I'm doing helps me really push through. So really think about what does it take for you this week to show up to these 15 minutes, because consistency is what's going to make this easier for you. Okay. All right. So I will see you guys next week. How do I turn this off? How do I turn this off? How do I turn it off?